further hide in prio if we expect this level of aggression, as BLG recognise that and snuff out the Pantheon.
So one of my worries with them picking Aurora was that the Nocturne just becomes unavailable. I don't know if that's exactly the route that they want to take, but it just is not the greatest pairing with other options.
Okay.
I like this. I like going after this because this does give you that early game presence that you're
I'm happy with it in concept. We just need to see if BLG want to steal away the Seraphine. Ezreal Seraphine is something we have seen as a takeaway. It's not really a duo that does a lot, but it is something that works conceptually together. Here is the alternate route, and I think the preferable route when you know you're facing down Ashe Seraphine, and that's to pick things that bully and mobile champions. Bard pretty much aced here for that.
and something that can abandon your AD carry, right? Okay, well, my AD carry is going to play super safe, sit back, fire your Mystic shots, remember who you are, and I'll go do other things on the map here.
Yeah, it's definitely on the table.
Yeah, the Snar Hover, we'll see if they want to go ahead and lock it in and just give Bin a champion that will be pretty good in all matchups. Would make a little bit more sense to go bot.
Yeah, when you already know what the bot lane matchup's going to be, I don't see much point in not picking both of your bot laners here. If Pantheon was still on the table, you'd obviously look to grab that, but now it's like we're reaching into the Mundo Skarner territory, things like that. I could honestly see potentially a Wukong or something coming out from WE, because it does work nicely with those two bot laners for wombo combo purposes, but the problem is, it's not that aggressive early, and that's what WE performed on. It's the only thing we've seen them perform on, so we want to either see something completely different from them and have another good performance, or double down. I want the double down personally.
Okay.
That is not early game.
Go with an Azir. This is not what we're looking for here. All right, I have problems with it. I mean, I just feel like we're never going to get to the point where Azir is going to be useful in this game, because Team WE are not going to be able to go late against BLG. I'm sorry.
It got some buffs on recent patches, so you know the Azir has a little bit extra damage on the Q, a little bit more stuff on the W, but like at the end of the day, I don't know what the hell we're doing unless they truly managed to finish out with like a complete draft canyon in the last two picks, which in fairness was one of the things that BLG didn't exactly get draft canyon, but they definitely gave Viper Ezreal, and then on left lane it was on Shen rather than the Bard, and at that point the enemy bot lane just got so far ahead that was the win con that actually ended up paying off. WE could potentially see that this game, but forcing tower damage against an Ezreal, you can't really ever threaten a dive. It's so annoying with the Mystic Shift.
Counterpoint. The bot lane that had that lead was Gala and Vampire.
Yeah, but I wasn't going to say that, because then it makes it sound more unreasonable, you know?
Well, I mean, it kind of is, right? Like, let's
yeah,
be
but we
honest
weren't
with
expecting the
ourselves
game
here.
lead last time.
About an are not Gala and Vampire. But
they could be
if they could cosplay them for a game, we could see a game 3.
If we see a game 3, I truly cannot fathom the reactions that BLG and WE fans will be having in response to that. But, you know, we will sit here and hope, as we do take a look at the second ban rotation, removing Sion and Vayne, two different flavors of counter pick in the top side. And now we are just cooking to see what Cube has. The Jace is gone, locked in game 1, one of the best counter picks in general for that Gnar. So, will we see a Cube Camille? Will we just see his default Yorick, which is like fine, but Viper slammed it the Ziggs for Knight, which is, we know what BLG are doing now. They're trying to stay at 2 arms length away from you and hurtle stuff at you. So this gives WE the option to now pivot into a bit more engaged tools, potentially the Ornn. I would really like to see with this comp now in response to BLG. And as long as Cube survives top lane, if you slam that with a Nocturne, what the hell is a Ziggs doing?
Yeah, they really have to. They have to, and I'm not a fan of this right here, because not only are you going to get blasted by all these skill shots from a mile away, but the wave clear that the Ziggs provides, you can't siege with your Azir, with your Ashe, with your Seraphine. Please tell me we're not actually locking this in. I understand we have some squishies here, and this is a champion that we've seen, but this just does not work. Okay. Listen,
Better.
I feel a lot better. I feel a lot better about this, mostly because now Arha has a couple of targets that this Encore can go through.
Yeah, that is definitely a problem with the Seraphine. If you aren't doing that proper front to backing, it's so easy for it to go just completely wrong. However, matching frontline with frontline is something that I think BLG are definitely fishing to do. Shun getting this Mundo is really hard to break through. You have DPS with the Ashe and the Azir, so it's not impossible, but this is a completely different expectation going into the early game compared to last time.
It's a little bit, right? Because Karis wasn't really able to get much done on that Aurora against Knight, and they didn't really play for him too much either. They played a lot for Cube, and obviously the bot lane. So now Monki gets to really set his undivided attention on this bottom side of the map and kind of just tell Cube, hey man, you're putting the tank in the bag, I'll focus elsewhere. Make sure that Karis stays stable in this early game, and if this bot lane gets ahead like we think they will get, perhaps we have a more balanced early game out of Team WE where they're not like, we must get a lead and we must push it, but we have a healthy enough lead, we can cultivate it, and then Azir can carry later.
I mean, all the words you're saying make perfect sense. Until you then get to the part where you say it's W versus BLG. Yes. So, I love it. I don't disagree with any of the theory behind it, but when you have Viper able to satchel out of a Skarner engage, when you have Bard who can portal you away from a Skarner engage or slam down that ult on so many good targets on WE. Listen, I'm expecting a hands check from BLG, but I would love nothing more than for WE to surprise us.
BLG hands checking people? No way.
Incredible.
Never seen that before.
No, but W have angles, but we'll just have to see if they can execute.
They certainly do. The execution was a little poor as the early game went on, but at the start, things look good. Game 2, BLG, Team W. Both teams get a little bit of juice from the Gyos. We love that no matter what. Honestly, if I were there, I'd just be Gyoing for both teams.
Of course.
Don't care who wins. I just want to see some League of Legends, baby.
It's all here for atmosphere, and already there's something to talk about because we had On go top lane immediately and slam down a ward in that top lane bush. Cube did see it happen, but it means that now the Cassandre really can't walk up at all. Normally when it's range versus melee, the only way you get into XP range is by sneaking into bush and then saying, alright, you have to burn your ward on this, or potentially risk getting ganked by some early cheese. The fact that On did it means that Bin can play as aggressive as he likes, which is very, and have no threat really whatsoever.
Yeah, really nice, and you know, if you're worried about Monki taking some creative angles, Ezreal can just burn the ward there. Why? Because you know damn well that Ashe Seraphine are going to be in that front bush. You know, if they're not, I mean, I'd be surprised that we can already see that happen.
What are you
here.
doing then? Yeah.
Right, Monki looking for this creative angle. I really like it. Karis is a level up right now. Here he comes. He just levels up to 3, but shoves him right in. That satchel is going to go down. Knight will take a lot of damage for it. Gets slowed up as well. A solid first gank from Monki.
Really, really solid. Just losing that HP means that now Knight has to heavily consider TPing back in before the Scuttle Crab spawns. Otherwise, Monki and Karis should be able to take control of both sides of the map. We already know where Shun is going to be looking. There is a ward that should spot the Mundo out. Pretty much the exact opposite of the amount of map mobility compared to that of a Skarner, but there is a Bard to compensate. Portal is on the table.
Shun showing up here, just trying to relieve a lot of pressure. Here's the Bard portal. He is going to walk up, throw a cleaver, walk away, and On. Perhaps getting a little too aggressive there. Shun says, I'll go in for round 2, and they're going to force the heal of the WE bot lane.
Corporate Mundo calling in some overtime on the lane that is going to buy BLG some necessary space. Really trying to avoid the incident of last game where WE just got to kind of walk over the bottom lane. And now, we have Monki just continue to full clear. Will we get a dive
Still
here?
Yeah, because they're up against the wall, so if On can get a stun off, About flashes, looking for On with the turn shot on top of it.
Oh my god.
First blood. Shun's gonna fall down as well. It's a double kill for About.
This is the second time in a row that About has played a tower dive immaculately, and yeah, like, to simply put, 2 kills in Ash's pocket. The wave is just barely outside a tower. I don't know if that is going to crash. It's looking like it's going to hold, so not even going to miss out on that much fun. Really happy for that walk into lane with a BF sword at 4 minutes.
Wow, that is huge. I mean, that time investment for Shun not paying off means that Monki has a good idea of where he's going to be at now, and it's going to be his turn to go and try and make a play somewhere. So he's finished clearing out on this bottom side, so really, really nice start for Team W.
Enforced error from BLG. Question is now, what will WE actually be able to get done with that lead? We do have, bless, a cleanse for Viper. Something that I think ADCs are getting a bit too liberal with not taking the cleanse and respecting this duo at the moment. It is something that can really just lose you the game or stop you being able to play forward, but we know Viper really loves playing weak side at this point. It's Knight taking heavy trade.
Yep, both sides getting low. Karis is forced to flash away. Knight doing a very good job, one of his favorite picks into Azir.
Yeah, like, we know that Ziggs is a counter pick to Azir, but I don't think that is strictly why of just trading raw auto attacks in melee range. Oh, hold on.
Not looking. He's not looking. Oh, nice satchel charge there. It disrupts Knight's back, though. That is a lot of time lost.
Yeah, not going to lose to Shopkeeper, but will still be recalling here. I'm curious if he's going to have enough for the Lost Chapter. That really dictates how the lane's going to play, if he'll be able to just sit in lane. Okay, he's got it. Expect Knight to only be pushed out of lane when he chooses to be at this point now.
Not a whole lot going on up top. We are going to see an all-out come through as Nars in mini form, but we do have more plays coming on the bottom side. What a nice stun there by On, right on top of About. He's got no summoners to keep himself upright. Really good one.
Tower dive didn't go so well. Let's just not let him make it to tower. Excellent execution.
Q got slowed. This is bad. Slammed up against the wall. Gigabin is close to making the play, but Monki will show up to save the day for the moment.
Okay, and that was Bin just playing so respectfully. Early flashing away from Cube as soon as he goes all out. And then just using that HP lead, holding the Cassante at range. And in the end, doesn't manage to counter-force the flash though. So, this will leave a potential play angle for Monki and Cube up in the top lane, as now it is a contested round.
Yeah, Monki's not going to be able to get it. And one of my worries here is that Monki's first 2 times that he showed up did not actually yield anything. Well, he had that solid gank in the mid lane, it didn't get anything. Let's take a look at this play again. Beautiful stuff by On.
You know, he is using the carrier skin, so it makes sense. Yeah, that was pretty sick nasty, really. Like, what are you supposed to do about that as Ash? Absolutely nothing. Don't be that far up forehead is the best you can really say there. It comes down to just, yeah, play safe. Play safe, ADC. Like, go on now. Anyway, though, back to more serious stuff. We do have the Dragon available. A lot of posturing. It's going to be kind of a mad rush to get level 6, considering we have the Ashe Seraphine, and On, being Bard, is behind on levels, so we don't expect to get that Tempered Fate coming in for the first Dragon contest, as now Shun pathing over here, Monki already on this side of the map. It is really a matter of time. WE have a lot better tools for taking the first Dragon between Azir and Ashe, but it is not impossible for a Mundo to be portaled in to the pit for an easy steal.
Really difficult position for Arha to be in. He's less than halfway to level 6. He doesn't have the ability to actually go soak EXP anywhere, right? So his ultimate is not available for this Dragon. That is a huge loss. So you're really relying on Monki, on About, and even on Karis to make a play. We have a lot of on-the-way pings as Monki's going to show up. On's going to portal through the wall. We're still split for now. Shun is a level up on Monki. Monki's down to about half HP with that heal getting used. Monki's going to have to flash over the wall as BLG continue to bully Team WE around.
Yeah, that Hextech Dragon slow is deadly. If you're not trying to take it and it's just rattling onto you, it truly makes it impossible to run away. So, a very understandable and necessary flash out. Ooh!
Here we go. We're looking for Knight. The satchel charge doesn't get him that far away. He escapes the turret range, but nice flash after the first tag there. Now Monki's going to look for him and will be able to slam him up against the wall. It's just a matter of who's going to clean it up. It is Karis getting the job done.
Excellent donation, and Knight just walking way too far up there. I couldn't tell if it was because he was hitting the tower to just knock down a plate or what, but I mean, the execution on the escape was almost nice. If there weren't two more people there, and now WE can start this dragon for free. Ooh, I love this.
They can find On too. I love it. They shove him away from the portal, and Monki will keep him right there. About finds kill number 3 of the game, and Shun is trying to walk up. Israel ultimate doesn't quite get a kill. Shun flashes forward as a teleport coming in from his Ziggs as well. Recalls are going to be made. So BLG will be able to secure the dragon, but they lost 2 members in that full exchange.
And that's why you can never count BLG out at the end of it, though. Using the teleport in to force out does make it equalized. Before that, it was absolutely a WE winning play. This at least gives you those legs. And if we pull back to game 1, part of the reason that WE weren't really able to convert on their early leads because they didn't get any dragons. So I'm just hoping this isn't going to be a case of the same game twice, but with different champions for WE.
I actually think Team WE's scaling is a little bit better here than BLG's, so I think BLG securing that dragon is more prudent for them. I think that's why they burn so much, not willing to really give it away for nothing. Shun up on the top side, picking up these grubs, looking to take those away from Karis, from any ability of Team WE to start sieging.
Now, I will definitely agree with the grubs. This is so good for BLG. Between the Ziggs and the Gnar in the side lane, you're more than happy to play a slightly more open map than WE. And so getting these grubs just means that Bin can really push the ticket. Any lead he is allowed to get, he can snowball that even further. And chipping down these plates means Knight can just waddle on over, throw a satchel charge, and get an easy injection of hope.
Shannon Crystal Arrow put in insta way out there by On. He manages to survive it. So that play's not going to be available for a little bit longer. Take a look at the level disparity here. Ara is still level 5.
How did that happen? What has he been doing?
Just been hanging out. I mean, he's been around the team. He's going to recall here and still be level 5.
This is not what you want from the Seraphine Ashe. Part of the threat is that you could chuck the Ashe W, then threaten with Seraphine E, force them to use the dash out, and then just chuck the ultimates and win the lane. So this is... It's definitely counterintuitive, to say the least.
He's still recall. Okay, he hits level 6. He's going to finish off this recall. The good news is there's no objectives to fight over, but it does mean that for the moment, Monki is going to find it a lot harder to make some plays on. Ever the playmaker will force the flash out of a bout.
Yeah, I think that was necessary. At the end of the day, Ezreal's a champion that can layer a lot of damage to hit you as soon as you come out of the Tempered Fate, and they didn't know exactly where Shun was. So yeah, respectful. Knight, however, is the subject of another play mid.
Oh, I love this. Here we go. On top of him, satchel charge gets used, but he's got nowhere to go. Knight will fall. Karis will survive with the stun from On with the flash on top of it. They're trying to body block for Karis, but he'll finally fall. Now the turnaround's going to be on to Shun. There's that encore as well, but he's healing up about trying to kite away from Viper. Another root goes down, but they just don't have the damage to take him out yet. And Shannon Crystal Arrow lands. They want Shun slammed up into the wall as Monki is making plays happen.
Oh,
Viper
Viper!
shifts forward. He'll be able to find Arha, but he will fall himself. On will be the next target. The magical journey ends up sending him back to the base. Team WE have a lot of fight in them this game.
Okay, this was not the way we expected the mid game to go, but WE not going down without swinging. Really good execution to just elongate that play, and the fact that they were able to burn down an ulting Mundo is crazy. And I think that BLG are just as surprised as we sound that they stuck to that play as long as they did. This was an excellent flank.
He got around the vision.
Monki. Incredible.
He got around that vision.
The observers did absolute brilliance for us because it was a jump scare for Knight. Like, what the hell are you meant to do? He couldn't get to the wall to satchel over. Nearly gets the return kill with the Ziggs burst. And then On backs away thinking he's dead to Cleaver or auto attack. Has to go back in and just throwing everything, the kitchen sink to hold Shun in place, just means that this kind of falls into the, oh, do we let our jungler die? Yes or no? And Viper realizes as soon as the Ashe auto attacks him, oh god, I'm dead, better make sure I get a return kill. And that is the only silver lining that BLG walk away with.
This is why Skarner is Monkey's pocket pick. Did miss his Impale, but I imagine he won't miss too many more of those. Team WE have a very small lead for the moment. We saw Bin get a turret up in the top side. Now he might start making an impact in these fights. You'd be a little bit worried if you're Team WE. Dragon in 15 seconds. You know Team WE want to pick up at least one of these, so you don't have to worry about the Dragon stacking nearly as much. As the game goes on, BLG gonna get a little bit stronger than WE until Karis is fully online.
Very curious to see which soul, which rift we'll be getting after this one goes down, as it'll really make a difference for Skarner in particular, depending on what we end up getting. But with the initial posturing, now it is just setting up that vision and making sure you have control. If you lose vision against the Seraphine Ashe, or a Skarner, as we just got a good example of, you will get absolutely popped without any way to get around it as BLG. We do have flashes available for everybody except for On, so BLG are confidently standing up, but not going to go for a contest.
Enchanted Crystal Arrow goes down onto Shun. I think it's just to play keep away for the moment. BLG will wave the white flag on this Dragon as Team WE will get there first.
So we truly see the distinction in style right now. BLG going with what we expected to on the day and saying, alright, we've given Bin a good lane. Let's just leave him to run amok. Oh, good ghost.
Very nice job there by About. Who will be okay. This means that Viper and On will be able to get some work done on this turret, and they whittle it down. Herald on the table. We'll see who's going to be able to pick this one up. Monki out of vision for the moment. We know that he might make a play on the On here. So that people will show on mid lane, maybe to transition this up to the top side to go after Bin.
Bin, Herald, both available to take, as just using that Void Grub value, Bin is just...
2 levels up.
It's wild. Oh my god.
Yeah, he gets locked in, but there's no actual danger for Bin right now. I mean, he's up 50 CS, he's up almost 2,000 gold. At some point, BLG have to answer.
I don't know how you do it though, because I think even with a full kidnap combo from Monki, you don't have the damage to get through Gnar, as they are truly just saying, alright, let's leave him. It's fine. This is just a problem we'll deal with. We'll deal with it later when Azir scares. Oh, beautiful.
Nice move there by Karis as the turret will force On down. Knight will be able to trade out. Ends up being a 1-for-1.
And by the looks of it, he will be able to come back and get that tower, because a Seraphine cannot really do much from the support role to stop a Ziggs hitting it. Should knock it down, use the satchel charge any moment now to get that big injection of gold. I'm assuming he's just waiting for the cooldown, or oh, he's letting the minions die. Okay.
What a tryhard, man. Well, Monki shows up. Viper will shift away from the Impale. There's a big tool down. I'm very surprised the Monki went for that.
It was incredibly greedy, is the only way I can put it, because unless you know for certain Ezreal has just arcane shifted, I don't know why you ever think that's going to hit. Like, the Viper has to be truly asleep at the wheel, and we've already seen him have to play Mega weak side this split already, so we know he doesn't exactly go to bed like that. He is paying attention.
Well, Monki's going to go pick up some Krugs. Not going to get a ton of value on that play, so it feels like Team W are sputtering out a little bit here. Cube going to get chased down as BLG infests the top side jungle of Team WE as they're looking to keep the pressure on.
Oh.
We found About. Are we going to get anything more? Encore just hits the minions, and About is forced away. Heal got used as well, and the turret will fall.
And with that layered damage from the two ultimates, you just can't contest.
Wait,
okay.
The swap is here. The Enchanted Crystal Arrow doesn't land, but here is Karis. He's looking to hone in on Viper, who flashes over the wall. Karis will flash after him, not hit him with the Emperor's Defy. Viper's still alive. Shun will be able to clean up Karis. Arha dies. Team WE are caught in the middle. Monki says, see you later. His Cube is going to go all out on Shun, but now has to try to run away. About going to rejoin this fight, but BLG are very healthy. A disastrous play, and BLG are starting to take control.
I think that was a miscommunication from WE, because the TP swap play isn't bad. Like, going for that flank angle was nice, but the problem is About had already left because of the aforementioned getting chunking out, so where's your damage? Like, let's watch back this play. At this point, About has committed to walking away and recalling. He fires off the arrow that does not hit, but unless you turn and focus one guy, you just simply don't have the damage, having to use the shuffle to close the gap. No more of the soldiers left for Karis to be able to last hit Vipers. Now we get another one.
Been getting chunked but not going down. A tough one to let slip away. Has built himself a 2,000 gold lead. BLG have built themselves a 3,000 gold lead, and we did talk about it a little while ago. This is the point in the game where BLG are going to be notably stronger than Team WE until we get to late game Azir.
And even then, getting to late game Azir doesn't matter if you are forced to shuffle every time On throws a Tempered Fate in your direction. And if you don't shuffle it, we just saw what happened to About, but later on in the game, there's no health bar left over. Like, with the Infernal Dragon spawning now, if you allow BLG to just stack these up, truly, you will die from 100 to 0 to that play that About just had to receive earlier on of Bardol into Ezreal's Exalt.
It's tough to deal with. I think you can give away a couple of the dragons, but you can't really give away the soul.
Oh. I'm going to have to ask your opinion on this. Perhaps we'll resume the conversation after, but we do have the Rocket Belt completed for Knight, so he has that extra mobility to dodge away from the shuffle.
Not just that, dodge away from Arha, dodge away from About, and, you know, you'd be dodging away from On's ultimate if he was on the other team. On with a nice dodge there, Chain of Crystal Arrow lands on a Knight. They can't actually do anything. Monki taking a bunch of damage. There's the encore, but guess what? It's Knight's Mega Inferno Bomb getting it done. About has to try and do something. He's able to find On. Now they're going to look for Shin next, but Knight with the Rocket Belt finds About. He's just styling on these guys. Nothing Karis can do, and BLG have the kill lead, and the game is in their hands.
It took 20 minutes, but the BLG hands check showed up to the game, and it completely rolled all the momentum that WE had. There was a moment there where WE could have gone for the contest, and if they just walk away with an even amount of kills, the game is still playable. Now, it looks much more difficult, as there is... Yeah, On's just getting vision, okay.
And there's just nothing that Cube would be able to do about it. So difficult for Team WE to try to navigate. I feel like the gold deficit has gotten so wide to the point where we are not going to see Karis get to this late game. In the blink of an eye, he has found himself down in nearly 2,000 gold. These solo laners of BLG are uncontested, undisputed, best laners in the league. And any small advantage that they get, they can absolutely widen it to leads like this. Let's take a look at this replay, Melvin. Let's break it down.
It was an excellent ult from On, and then it was exactly what was being foreshadowed. The burst play comes out but doesn't actually combo, and then Monki is left in the terribly awful position of just being barraged over the wall, and as soon as we see the attempt to save, that is when Knight throws all of his damage at the stationary Seraphine. She dies from full, and at this point it is just BLG truly understanding their range, understanding their champion, and understanding their out. Viper with a fantastic shuffle to not get taken down by the Azir wall, as Rift Herald has been used top lane, has cracked open most of that top tier 3 tower for BLG, as the Baron setup is the next place to turn our attention.
A little bit of Riftbound violence in that last play. Ezreal is indeed a better deck than Azir. It's happening in Riftbound, it's happening in this game right now. That Baron, as you mentioned, is up. Team WE, I think they just need to try to turtle out as best they can. The problem is, I think that WE might just try and force a play with all the tools that they have. They have good tools. They just don't have the strength right now. There's Monki trying to immediately force that play. It's another Impale that does not land. He gets hit with the Bard ultimate, and now they're going to stun him and target him out. There's no way for him to return the team. A flash away. Encore's only going to hit the one. Arha's got a flash. He will survive on a sliver. Ezreal will not be able to snipe him out, but Bin trying to get close with Mega Arm won't be able to do so. They'll take the one member for now and head to the Baron.
Been a relatively quiet game from the top lane. Cube at the 0-0-0, been getting his first assist during that series of play. It's truly just been leave the top gap to happen, and it's not really mattered because of how much impact the rest of BLG has been able to get done as we have moved into the mid game now.
Congratulations to Bin, who has his first kill participation of the game after that play. Cube still holding up the 0-0-0 record.
To be fair, we've seen somebody win with that. We've seen Hoya do it. Can Cube
with it? Not win in spite of going 0-0-0, but won because of going 0-0-0. I don't know if this is going to be the game for that. Monki showing up, seeing on, saying, you know what, I'm out of here. I'll think better of this play. And despite the 1-2-5 scoreline that looks solid enough, it's been a disappointing game for Monki, who, after a solid enough early game, has loved a lot of these fights.
It's one of those things where we had the setup in bot lane and it felt like WE never really connected to punish the Ezreal Bard. Like, obviously they're very difficult to punish, but you still need to try, otherwise they just get to sail through the game for free. And we're not doing anything. Oh, bye about.
Bye about. Oh, bye Karis. You're dead too.
Ooh.
All right, next victim, Cube. He will have his first death of the game. We've landed an impale, but you are just pulling them closer to your support. That's game. BLG in the blink of an eye said, no more sieging, no more nonsense. 2-0, see ya, goodbye, good night.
Absolutely inevitable. We expected this result. The fashion by which it happened was not exactly the way we thought it would go about. WE showed us signs of life, but at the end of the day, there is the reason that we all look up to BLG in this league. And it looks like we are looking down on Aha in the Nexus. We'll get it.
It's BLG's world, and we are just living in it. A 2-0 series victory did not come without some difficulties, as was mentioned, but overall, BLG were able to weather the storm and some comps that were not favorable to them in the early game.
No, most definitely not. And I mean, let's talk about WE briefly, and then we'll jump over to BLG, because I feel like, as for WE, we were really expecting nothing, and they showed up with something. And in a matchup where even if you were in your best form and BLG was slumping, you're not expected to win, this is good. Like, it's a rough start to the split going 0-3, and it was those previous matches that we really would have preferred to see WE have a better performance, but at the end of the day, that's the way that the schedule was done, and you just need to get a little bit better every single time. And we saw a little bit better in both of these WE performances. Projecting forward, I think that there is some degree of hope that this team can pull it together and at least scrape off a few wins in Group Ascend, but that is only things we'll prospect further on.
I think you're right. WE definitely showed us some glimpses here. I feel much more inspired about this team than I did against their game versus Top Esports yesterday. I actually feel like we can walk away and say, hey, Team WE have some building blocks here. For BLG, I think that we learned a lot about them today, and they learned a lot about themselves in a sense that against lesser teams, if they give away comps like this, they will struggle, but they will be able to get the job done. Against greater teams, that may not be the same. So that's something interesting to file away for the moment and see how they adjust their pick and ban strategy.
Yeah, it's definitely an area where I would love to see BLG just think a bit more consciously about some of these things and understand what they're opting into. That's the main thing. Because you can draft comps that have weaknesses. Every comp has a weakness. You just have to be aware of them and be prepared for them. For example, looking back to the first game, they have a Jarvan, who is Monki. Be prepared for early game shenanigans. They weren't prepared for any early game shenanigans, and Viper was the one that suffered for it, and it took quite a bit of the game for BLG to draw themselves back into it. In this second game, it was just not really playing respectful around a lot of the windows for this Ashe to fight in the river, for Monki to gank mid lane, for Karis to find those Azir shuffles. So BLG definitely can walk away with this going, okay, yeah, obviously we won, everybody expected us to 2-0, but there is takeaways. There is something that they can use to make sure that they aren't going to have games stolen away by higher tier opponents.
And I think that's so important because this is a team that, obviously, first stand champions, they're going to carry the torch for LPL for the year, it looks like. Obviously, things could change between now and then, but this is a team that we expect to show up to likely every international. And as long as there are things for them to work on, that's good. This team, we want them to get better and better as the year goes on. We do not want them to stagnate. You take a look at some of the charts here. Obviously, the scoreboards are going to make this look a lot closer than it actually was, but that's also going to tell a story of Team WE showing some fight, and they must be respected for that.
Absolutely, there is stuff for them to do going onwards, but don't look at the top lane kill participation. Don't look at top lane kill participation.
No. Look at that support kill participation, by the way. On played lights out this game. He did die 5 times, but I don't care, man. This man, absolutely MVP in my mind for this game.
I mean, that flash bar Q was very
beautiful.
Nice. That was very nice.
I don't play that champion, and the next time I play that champion, I'm going to try this exact thing.
They knew.
And it's going to fail spectacularly.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Carrier whiffs these things half the time anyway.
What do you mean, absolutely? Pause.
I'm not saying that as an offense against you. You need to listen to the second part of the sentence.
I'll have you
Carrier
know I
whiffs
was
half of
diamond
them.
in Season 5.
Oh, my ancient goat. I love it. That's fantastic.
Against plumbers and milkmen.
Oh. Diamond in Season 5. That's really good. That is really good. Like, you know, we're not going into an ELO inflation topic. Let's finish the post-game.
All right, so, Melvin, we think this is going to be an on MVP. Who are you giving player of the series to?
Is it Shun? It could... I don't know if I want to give it to Knight after just walking up and getting Raw Azir ulted under tower, even though the rest of the game was nice.
Hear me out. So, obviously Shun had a really large impact in the first game. Didn't really do much in the second game. He was, pretty much played itself. I think On set up a lot of these plays. I think On had a big enough impact in that first game that you could give him player of the series for it. Discuss.
Yeah. No, I think you're right.
Right.
I think that
do
works.
It, guys.
That's it. No, the Nico played a significant enough part in that first game, acting as one of those main disruptors. Obviously, for the first game, I think Bin was just as much of a big disruptor in those fights, but this game, he just kind of gapped top lane, which, when you're Bin, it's like, yeah, that's to be expected, right? So, sure. I don't think it's top lane. I think jungle's debatable. Don't think it's mid lane. Viper did exactly what he was told, but that doesn't mean it's a glamorous performance. So yeah, I think you're right. I think it's either On or... I think it's going to be a split vote, but On's probably going to win. That's going to be...
Excellent. I hope we're right. I hope that we're in lockstep with the actual broadcast. Let's go ahead and take a look at the standings now that we have another day of LPL in the books. Group Ascend is now headed by BLG, with IG just behind them with the same game score. Top Esports and NIP occupying the 3rd and 4th place spot at 2-1. AL in 5th at 1-1. JDG still yet to play a second game, currently 0-1 in 6th. And then, of course, Weibo Gaming and Team WE rounding out Group Ascend, still winless for both squads.
I think one of those is to be more expected than the other. And at least going off of how we have for Weibo, I think it's concerning. Something that we do need to keep an eye on, because when we start to think about all these teams should in theory get better as the split goes on. And if WE is starting to show some light now, there is the potential for them to just snag a game from really most of these teams in Group Ascend as the split goes on. And at that point, you've got to make sure you're winning the 50-50s. You've got to make sure you're going 2-0 up in the double round robin against your immediate competition.
Yep, and the big early surprise has been NIP at 2-1. We'll see if they are able to keep that up. Really feel-good story. Maybe that they will be the surprise team in Group Ascent here in the second split. I think with their creative picks, certainly always exciting. Let's go ahead and take a look at what the rest of the schedule has for us for this week, because we do have some spicy matchups. I'm a big proponent of this Friday slate It's going to be LNG versus EDG. Yes, we are going to Group Nirvana for the first time in Split 2. And
Yay!
then the second game, JDG versus AL. I think that is the day that everybody must watch. Melvin, your thoughts? Do you think that maybe there's a game elsewhere that people aren't looking at as hard?
I mean, considering that we have single round robin for Group Nirvana, I'm also like panning my eye over to that OMG series because I want to see who's going to be coming out here, who's going to be making their way into the Split 2 playoffs from that Group Nirvana. And I mean, you already mentioned LNG. You already stole my pick of LNG. I love LNG. I love seeing Croco play well. But
I didn't steal your pick. I just said that's a great slate.
Yeah, I know. But you asked for something else, and like,
this is true.
Yeah,
I mean,
Group Ascend is cool, but have you tried
answer,
Nirvana?
You know? Yo, listen, Nirvana is pretty fire. And listen, again, that OMG squad got hot at the end of Split 1. And, you know, ReZero has been a breath of fresh air into that team. So I am actually very excited to watch that guy play too. So
100%. Like, I'm relatively new to the broadcast, and the first thing I did was the Demacia Cup, where he was starting, and I was like, wait, this guy's great. Oh, and then they brought in Juhan, and I was like, oh, yeah, he's pretty good too. But I wanted to see what else this guy had in it, and I'm so glad that he got to make a reappearance and hopefully continue rolling, because I think there's a whole lot of promise, and having more strong junglers is incredible for the league, because it just pushes our top end even higher up.
No doubt about it, Melvin. Well, before we go, everybody, we do need to have our shout-outs to our Elite Coffee supporters, Aaron, Soup, and Mung, because their pledged financial contributions help level up our broadcast and give back to the cast and crew who strive to give you an English LPL product almost every single day. Tomorrow, as we saw, is the super slate that you are not going to want to miss. It's LNG versus EDG and then JDG versus Anyone's Legend. That will do it for our broadcast here today. For myself, for Melvin, for Ilya behind the glass, for everybody who came before us and the entire LPL English family, I want to thank you all so much for being here with us today, and we hope to see you tomorrow for